If a few years ago a friend hadn't suggested that I see a coach, I may never have gone down the path of being coached. That was a few years ago, and whilst I think that today people are much more accustomed to being their own agents of change, being intentional about what they need to do to grow, I still think there's a lot of ambiguity around coaching and the different kinds of coaches there are and why people coach. So I wanted to share my journey as an example. I was feeling stuck and I really couldn't articulate that. And actually, it's only in the recent few weeks that I've been able to see it for what it was at the time. So this is my story. I was imminently expecting my second child. It had been a few painful years, and when I should have been bursting with joy, excuse the pun, I felt apathy. And it wasn't, I felt drained, I felt apathy, I felt a sense of hopelessness, and that was nothing to do with the pregnancy, lack of energy hormones, etc. On the surface, I looked happy, energetic, kind of my usual happy-go-lucky self. But underneath, that's not really how I felt. And often the job would surface. There was a thought about opportunity cost. Is this it? Is this what I'm going to do? But actually, I had a good, interesting job. I had happy, healthy relationships, supportive friendships. And I didn't have the words at the time, but I just felt a lack of alignment and a purpose on the inside. This kind of high-functioning stuckness, really, externally appearing fine and internally misaligned, continuing for a while. And then a good friend of mine, hurrah for Rachel, suggested that, look, I could work with a coach. And she referred a few, and I had a few chemistry sessions. And I found my coach quite easily, actually. It was about a warmth, life experience, ease of conversation, and the desire to partner and converse. And really from the magic of my living room, that's where, at my own convenience with a newborn baby, that's where the magic happened. Someone was deeply listening to me, reflecting my view of reality back at me, unlocking patterns in my thinking and habits, truths that I'd been telling myself, real truths I'd been ignoring, and crucially the sum of those truths, chips on my shoulders I didn't know I had, beginning to explore when, why, and how they rooted, what did it mean going forward, and words that I'd used to construct my reality in everyday surroundings. So from there I started noticing things, and a new awareness unraveled about me, and a new way of being emerged. And I started to be more choiceful in my words and my actions, more conscious. And ultimately what emerged was not solving a problem, a symptom. It was really helping me transform my way of being across multiple domains, in my home, in my health, in my career, in friendships, relationships, my way of thinking. And I saw that this has happened through a process of conversation, which was fascinating to me. And I would say probably from the outside, I looked the same. But internally, I had accessed something different, and that was the beauty of it. So in hindsight, two things that I can now see is what I originally was and have been calling stuckness for a long time was probably actually a very natural human desire to change and grow. I was having a milestone event, but I don't think it has to be a milestone event. Certainly I've worked with clients who simply want to change aspects of themselves or are frustrated about aspects of themselves or their life and their conditions and wondering what's a way out of it, what's a way forward. And as a friend shared, and I love this, that perhaps coaching is actually an invitation to walk through a tunnel to a different way of knowing things. And I don't think that's a tunnel in a negative sense. For me, that's a connective tissue to exploring a different part of yourself. It's a connecting passage to yourself. And the other thing I realized in hindsight is that I'd very much been leaving money on the table. Stealing, depriving energy from my daughter, from those in my surroundings, and without really appreciating, I was operating at a duller version of myself. So anyway, having witnessed the gentle yet transformative power. Because I say gentle intentionally because I think some coaches can be harsh. It's not about the coaches, the coaching practices, getting you to realize integral coaching is very gently looking for answers within you. So in this very gentle yet transformative way, I really wanted to be able to practice that art. And serendipitously, the South African organisation was taking on their next cohort, and I jumped at the chance because here was something I could do to serve people, to live my passion, but do it in a very dedicated way. And I felt that there was a beauty, a real beauty in serving everyday people, not necessarily people in a crisis or dysfunction, but really working towards that very human desire of being fulfilled, contentment, alignment, even though it may not come from a place of ease. It may manifest in my sense, as in my case, as a sense of stuckness, and in some of my clients' states as a wretchedness, a wish to change, maybe something else or someone else. But how do they do that? In the end, our life is full of relationships with other people. Some of those that we can control, some of those that we can't. So what can we control within ourselves? And so anyway, to conclude my meandering little story, my main point to you is that if you or people you care about have that feeling of stuckness, see it as an instinct or an invitation to grow. And perhaps you already have an inclination of how you want to grow, and the exploration is really what else you'll uncover on the way.